Hi, I'm about to play a snippet from one of my early teachings, but I thought it would be helpful to come in and say a little bit first. I'm naming this To Judge is to Fear, Part 1, which means there will also be a Part 2 to this. In this particular audio, what you're going to hear is when I was taught from inner wisdom that as long as I judge others, what's happening in the subconscious is that I then think I am worthy of judgment. As long as I condemn others, what's happening in the subconscious is I think I am worthy of being condemned. And what this does is this creates a fear of God, a fear of truth, a fear of things like trusting guidance, because I just believe that I deserve punishment. So judging others is the cause of fear in the subconscious. Judging others is the cause of fear in the subconscious. So that's what we'll be looking at in these next two audio snippets that I make. One thing that I want to point out to you, let me share my screen, is just before these two snippets, I created a snippet called Fear, a Story. You might also want to listen to that, because in that particular story, I describe this fear of following guidance, this fear of sacrifice. And then I also go to inner wisdom about that. And inner wisdom says that the way to really experience peace instead of fear is to accept everything as it is. And you can see that if judgment is the cause of fear, accepting everything it is as it is the answer, right? If judgment is the cause of subconscious fear, then accepting everything as it is the answer. So Fear, a Story would be helpful to watch. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and play this audio. This is from when I was teaching what inner wisdom taught me about a portion of A Course in Miracles called The Laws of Chaos.
What would you have me realize from the second law of chaos? And that second law of chaos is each one must sin and therefore deserves attack and death. And this is the answer from the Holy Spirit. This tells you that the Son of God is not God himself, that the Son is separate from the Father. If you believe this of your brothers, you will also believe it of yourself. If you believe it of yourself, you will see your separation as permanent and hopeless, and you will not believe in what is true, and so you will not experience it. Now, there's an awful lot in that paragraph, and a lot that I've even been looking at in my own mind lately, so I'm going to slow down a little bit here. Holy Spirit's getting a little closer to my heart right now. Again, the law of chaos was each one must sin and therefore deserves attack and death. And, one thing that's really interesting in this answer is the second sentence in the answer, where the Holy Spirit says, if you believe this of your brothers, you will also believe it of yourself. So what Holy Spirit is telling us is that if we are judging others for what they seem to do, for what they seem to say, for how they seem to be, for the way they look, for the way they dress, for anything at all, that really what's happening in our mind is that we are deciding that they deserve attack and death. And in fact, what we're already doing is attacking them within our own mind. But the Holy Spirit is telling us that if we do this, we're also going to believe this about ourselves. And this is really important to realize, because if we believe this about ourselves, if we believe that we deserve attack and death, if we really believe that, we are never, ever going to be able to surrender to the Holy Spirit or return ourselves to God. We're simply not going to be able to do it, because there's going to be a fear in the mind that is way too strong clearly believed that will not enable us to return our mind to God. There's going to be a belief that we deserve attack and death. There is going to be a belief that if we become completely vulnerable and go to God with completely open hands and a completely open mind, that he's going to stab us, or that he's going to turn us away, that he's going to kill us. And we absolutely need to let go of that belief in order to return our minds to God. And if we take this sentence and turn it around the other way, what we notice is if we believe this about ourselves, it's also because we still believe it about our brothers. And so this is why in A Course in Miracles, when it talks about the obstacles to love, and it talks about the fourth and final, it talks about the obstacles to peace, and it talks about the fourth and final obstacle to peace, which is the obstacle to love. And it tells us that we cannot face that obstacle without our brothers. And this is what it's referring to. If there are any of our brothers, if there's anything at all that we have not forgiven, accepted, and learned to love, if there is anything at all, then we're still going to be believing our brother deserves attack and death. And if we still believe that about our brother, we're still going to believe that about ourselves, and we will not be able to return to God. So this is why this second law of chaos, that each one must sin, absolutely has to be let go of. Let me read this first paragraph from the answer again. This tells you that the Son of God is not God himself, that the Son is separate from the Father. If you believe this of your brothers, you will also believe it of yourself. If you believe it of yourself, you will see your separation as permanent and hopeless, and you will not believe in what is true, and so you will not experience it.